I am here with 5th of October shift 1 problem. Yes, this shift contains some unexpected input format. Okay, the similar kind of input format was there in the third shift, 3rd of October shift 2. I guess I will create a video on it very soon, but let's cover the latest problem asked by TCS NQT. Okay, so in this particular two sets of problem, again, there is a great news that the question came from this video. Same question came from this video, which is you are giving an integer like 1, 2, 3, return true if sum of digit is multiple of 3. Okay, the same pattern question is covered in this number theory video. Whoever watched it, then definitely will able to crack all of the TCS and QT shifts that continuously happened from yesterday onwards. Is it? So yes, we'll begin the solution of this particular question. You are given an integer like 1, 2, 3, return true if sum of digits is multiple of 3. Now you might wonder, what about the unexpected input? This is a very easy input. Yes, I will discuss that input case in the second problem because the input is regarding the array where most of the people got stuck. So in this particular question, let's solve the approach. So the approach is very easy. You need to return either in true or true. Basically, I was not knowing that which true that you need to return. So that's why I covered both. Okay, but it is totally depend upon the question. It will be mentioned in your question. So try to read your question properly. Great. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. We need to check whether there's sum of digit. What would be the sum? It would be 6. And if the sum of digit is divisible by 3, then only you need to return true. Otherwise, you need to return false. So I know that it is very easy question. What you will do, you will fetch out every digit, ones place digit, and accumulate it, finding sum, and in the last, just finding it whether it is divisible or not. How you can do it? So let's say this is your n given to you. If you do modulus of 10, okay, 1, 2, 3, modulus of 10, what it will do? It will give you the remainder of this. So what would be the remainder? Remainder would be 3 because 10 type 10s is 100 and 100 will give you, I guess, or 10 times 12 is 120, then it will give you 3 as a remainder. Great. So if you got 3 as a remainder, you end up having your digit. Okay, so this is digit, not n. Okay, so this is digit. I will write it as it is. Now the digit value contains the last value here. Now I will create a sum variable which will accumulate it at every or in every iteration. Okay, so 3, then it will commit as 2, then it will commit as 1, but it will not come automatically. You need to write a next line as well, which will reduce your length of the number, isn't? So if you divide it by 10, so what happened here is, as you are dealing with an integer format or data type, so if you divide it by 10, so your 123 will become 10. Okay, so after solving this, you will end up having 12.3. So as you are dealing in a data type integer, then definitely this integer part would be ignored and you end up getting 12 as the end. So now 3 has been removed, you have 12. Now this operation will continue. You will end up having 2, then digit will also be accumulated in the sum, then 2 will be removed, you end up having 1, so 1 will be removed. So you need to perform this iteration again and again until unless your num will not become greater than 0. Great. So this is the particular approach, which is typically very easy, very easy. So we'll discuss the Python code without wasting time. So we'll took the input of n. Let's say we took the 123 and sum is 0. We'll initialize. Now while my n, until unless my n doesn't become 0, I need to continuously iterate on every point. Okay, where I will find the digit out using my modulo operator, which will give me the remainder, and I will add remainder into my sum, so that in the last I will end up having my sum into my hand and reducing my number, removing the ones place digit. Okay, so that I can move forward. My while loop will not stuck in an infinite condition. Now print true. When I need to print true, if whatever sum I accumulated is more than by 3 and it is 0. Okay, so else return false. So this is the particular approach of this question. I hope this question is very easy to remember. So let's discuss the C++ and we'll also discuss the Java code as well. Okay. The main thing in the second problem is the Java code, because I researched thoroughly, because many people were having issues how to take input. We'll let you know. So bits std you can totally use. There is no allegations or prohibitions on it. So int main, I created a function where you need to take the input. I took sum. Now while my n is greater than 0, we need to perform few sets of operation that we currently built, where we find the remainder, finding out a digit, accumulating and reducing my number. That's it. Now finding the answer as we need. Okay, now let's discuss the Java code. It's look pretty simple and easy. Scanner class has been initialized. The next int value has been took. Then some variable has been initialized. Then creating my while loop, which will continuously do some set of operation and will end up having something in my hand. And now after the process of this while loop, and the last I will check. Okay, if this sum is divisible by 3, then please return true, otherwise return false. So very easy question. The time complexity would be O of n, and n would be the size of the digit or number. Okay, so bingo, the question were very easy. So massive success rate, because here will transform your interview opportunity into offer letter and make your, so that you can make your parents proud. Okay, we have 98% of success rate. No one get rejected. Few of the people got demoted who are lack in practice. Okay, but if you take this mock session before your interview, like 2 days prior, then definitely you will ace your interview for sure. Because here we will test your skills on technical, let it be your core, your resume based, your project based, your technical skills, your coding skills, everything. We'll also assess your skills on managerial or HR based problems, because TCS interview is very different as compared to other service based companies. Now the full simulation of an actual interview, because these interview will be taken by TCS prime experts, and resume review, where we'll let you know all your weakness present in your resume, then definitely, so that you can stand into your crowd. Okay, and personalized feedback on your 1 hour of in detail session, where we'll tell you what is a weak point and how you can improve yourself, and how need to speak, what about your communication skills, your guidance, motivation, doubt solving, roadmaps, and much more. So for that, you just need to head on www.primecoding.in. There you will find whole profile based cards. Just get onto it and book your session now. Okay, so coding question. Given an integer array nums, add an integer k. Return the number of pairs, which is I comma j, where I is less than j, such that nums of I and nums of j is equivalent to k. So this is a similar question you can expect on lead code as well. Okay, which is of easy tag question. Okay, which is not that actually tough, where you need to find a set of a condition which will give you on the difference of that condition is k. Now, as you can see, the unexpected part in this question is 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. Now, you might argue with me, where is the k? Because question states will give you the array nums and k. So, two things in this question is not available, which is the length of the array, and another is the k. Okay, so the length you need to assume and you need to take in runtime, which means you need to create a dynamic array which will continuously take the input. So in Python it is easy. In C++ and Java you need to do something. We'll let you know in this video fully and concisely. So if you got this input, so question state the very last element will act as a k. So you need to take input in a one line, then pop out the last element as k, then perform your operations. Now most of the people were not able to recognize this in the question. They start taking inputs. They are not able to take input. They don't know how to take k input, where is k, and how to segregate it. Now they start blaming, we are not able to take the input. It might be not your case, but most of the cases that I encounter face the same. Okay, so when you see these types of input and you don't know how to pass and you are not able to take input, you applied many ways, but still, so what you can do is take this input in a string format. Okay, because it will be of any kind or any data type. If you are taking it as a string, it will definitely give you the input. Okay, when you are able to take this string input, then you can parse it one by one, like writing some iteration in for loops or while loops. Then you can create one array, put all the integers at one place, put k at one place, and start performing your operation. Okay, so this is the worst case scenario that I talked about. In this video, I contacted many people who appeared recently in the TCS NQT, and I brought up the solution from them. So this video will help you to crack your upcoming TCS NQT shifts. So do like this and subscribe the channel if you have not. Okay. So how the 4 would be the output. So let's say k is 1 and you have given the array integer as 1, 2, 2, 1. So you need to take the absolute difference of it. So what if we do 2 minus 1 or 1 minus 2, or again we have 2, 2. So it will occur two times, and you end up having like this will become 1, this will become 1, and if you accumulate it you will get it as 2, but you need to perform the same operation 2 times. Why? Because you have two 2's, is it? So again, for this case also, this type of case would be arised, and yes, 1, 1. So in total you are end up having 2. So end up having 4 as the answer, you need to do that. You need to find all possible case of the pairs which will give you the difference. The absolute difference of that pair is equivalent to k. You need to find those pairs and return the count, how many pairs that you found. Okay, so how we can do it? As in the question, as in the explanation itself, I told, we can do this question in many ways, in brute force or stuff, because brute force also work there, because the time complexity or the constraint was only 1000 as I got it from the student. Okay, so the brute force will also work. Most of the people is brilliant, they solve this question in an optimal manner. Okay, so great. How I can solve it, Aditya? Now, if you look at this particular case, how you need to frame the approach, I will let you know in the video, so that if your preparation is not up to the mark, still you able to come up with an approach in your exam. Okay, so I comma j states that I will always less than j, which means j should always greater than I. So from this particular stuff, I get to know that I need to use two for loops, where for I given into 0 and it will go till n, and I need to create for j loop as well, where j should always greater than I. So it should be I plus 1, is it? So I plus 1 to n, I need to iterate, so that I can check for every condition which exists in my given input, Okay, so yes. Now what I will do, just eliminate this one. What I will do, I will start finding the difference among all of this. Okay, so I will just write if my absolute, which means if we get a negative, it will convert it to a positive. If my array of I minus array of j is equivalent to k, then please, what do you need to do? Please increment my answer by 1, or answer or count, whatever you want to create, you can. And the last, just return my answer. Okay, what you are actually doing here is, you are finding for every test case. Let's say your test case has 1 2 2 1 and you have this pseudo code with you. So for very first index, what you will do, you will end up calculating is, for the first iteration, you will do 1 minus 2. Okay, let's say your I given into 1 or I given into 0 to be computer familiar. So 1 minus 2 will give you 1, which is equivalent to k. So create a counter or answer whatever you want to, it will be incremented to 1. Great. So now again 1 minus 2, what it becomes? 1 minus 2 again will become 1. So counter will become 2 here. Now 1 minus 1 will become 0. Now nothing will happen. So for the very first iteration, we'll get everything. Now my I comes to here, which is at one location. So 2 minus 2. So 2 minus 2, what it will give me? 0. So nothing will happen. So 2 minus 1, what will give me? 1. So my counter will become 1. Now my I becomes or comes to here. So now my j start with 1. So 2 minus 1 again, what will end up having? 1. So it will be incremented to 4. And when my I comes to the next, I don't have j to point on because my j will go out of bound. So my while loop will terminate, and in the last, my count will end up having 4 into s, and I need to return the same. So this is the particular approach. So this takes at least O of n square of time, and it will take O of 1 space because I'm not taking any auxiliary space. So what could be the optimal approach? If you write this will also be submitted, but you need to write an optimal one also, because if the same question comes into your exam, you need to crack it for sure, because they will ask you the optimal approach, not the brute force approach. Okay, so please recognize what I am doing here. Okay, so I had 1 2 2 1 as my array element. Okay, agree. Now I have k equivalent to 1 as per the question. Great. Now what I observe in my two loops is, I was, let's say my A is 1 and my B is this, and my B is keep on incrementing as per the two loops that we wrote and the diagram I just solved. Is it? So what I need to do is, what I'm doing A minus B. Let's remove absolute, take it as an imagination. Okay, and what I'm getting is k. If my A minus B is equivalent to k, then definitely I need to increment my counter. Don't you think? Is that a particular approach that we thought of? Is it? So instead of doing for every operation, if I turn this question into a find based question, here I'm calculating it and checking whether it satisfies the condition. But what if I convert this question to the find something question, then only we can solve this question in an optimal manner. And if we talk about find, like let's say find an element, so what would be the optimal data structure for it, which would be a map or hash map or whatever you say as per your favorite programming language or dictionary. Now Let's see how we can use map into it. Okay, so a minus b k we have. Now what I will do is, instead of finding or performing this calculation, I will add my k into a and I will find for b. What I mean to say is, let's say my a in this case is 1. What is the k? K is also 1. So what is the sum of it? Is 2. Is 2. So if it 2 agrees or present in my map, which means I am able to find one count. Okay, and how many times that that particular element b is repeated. Okay, so what I will create, I will let you know. Okay, just have a quick dry run so that every concept will be clear to you. So yes, let's say this is a key value pair into my hash map that I created. Okay, so what I did here is, a is 1, k is 1, and I'm getting 2. So I will check, okay, 2, whether 2 exists in my map. Yes, 2 exists. So here is the 2. So what is the frequency? We'll also check what is the frequency. So frequency we have that as 2. So there will be the two cases or two ways to generate a pair where the difference of that will become equal to k. Because if, how many times is 2? Okay, 1 minus 2 is there. The one frequency, let's say 2 has 2 frequency. So one frequency has been used. Again, if you use the same frequency, you will end up having 1, 1. So that is the case that I'm talking about. Okay, so yes, it is totally agreeable now, is it? So instead of calculating, I will find for every num. Okay, so a. So I will check it for 2. Let's say my a becomes 2 here. So 2 plus k will be 3. So I will check whether we have 3, because if we subtract 2 from 3, then we'll end up having 1. Otherwise, there's multiple case, but here this could be the case. Okay, so is that 3 exist in my array? No, 3 is not. But what here is, let's say I again got 1 in that. I again got 1 in that. So 1 plus 2. Okay, I got 1 plus 2. So 3. Not 1 plus 2. Okay, 1 plus 1. Okay, 1 plus 1. How many? Because 1 is a, the last point is a, and k is a, we'll end up having 2, and we'll check into our list or hash map if we have 2 into it. So definitely we'll check the frequency, how many times 2 exist, that many times the k difference can be found. So yes, again 2 times. So 2 times here. So 2 times here, you end up having 4 in the end. Okay, so this is a very creative approach that I found out. So this could be the solution of it. We'll discuss in Python, Java and C++ in this video. So let's talk about the input format in Python. So in Python, most of the people were claiming that the split function is not working. So if it is not working, then there is multiple ways as well. Okay, so this is the first way. But the another way would be, take the input as a string format, then parse it. How to parse it? You can iterate on each number and create it. If that number is each digit, then definitely take that digit, or something you can create for sure. Okay, so let's say I will discuss in C++ and Java as well how you can briefly take the input. But here, most of the people told this is also the approach that we used and it works. Okay, so I am popping out the last element because the last element is my k. Now creating a store and filling my store with all the numbers which is present in my given nums, Great. And in the last, I created an answer and checked if my nums in nums, if my num which is present in my nums, and I will calculate, okay, my nums plus k, if it is there in my store, then definitely there is a possibility to create the decay difference. Okay, so yes, answer plus equal to store num plus k, and you are done. Print answer, it will give you the count of it. Okay, so time complexity, if you discuss the time complexity, it would be O of n, because I'm not creating any nested for loops, is it? And the space complexity is also O of n because of the store that we used. So it is totally dependent. Okay, if you want to remove it as well, you can remove. But the main objective to solve this question would be your less time complexity, which we took. Great. So now let's discuss the code in CPP, which looks pretty big, don't you think? So let's discuss the input approach first, because that is the thing that you're watching for. So now, first way that I encountered is, people said getLine can be used if you want to take an input which consists of spaces between it. So 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. You can take using getLine. getLine will take whole input at one go. Okay. After that, you can use string stream to parse over it and put every element into the array. Because element is in integer format, so it will take an integer and it will straight away put your all element into your vector, and you are done. And most of the people were also telling me is, or most of the people told me this as well, where you can use the cin statement in the while as well. Okay, So yes, this approach also works, but if you try on your compiler is not made for this kind of approaches. There you need to press Control plus D to stop this infinite value. Otherwise, it will keep on taking your input. But if you press Control D, it will take the whole input that you gave. Okay. So after that, you can directly push back this element into the array very easily and perform the rest task, because the rest task is pretty easy. I hope less people would have issues of writing the code of their logic, but they have issues in the input. So we'll discuss the input property. Okay, so this could be the second approach and this could be the first approach, or vice versa, that you want to take. You can take it any manner, but these two approaches used by students and they're able to solve whole question properly. Great. So yes, as you can see, then array dot back will give me the last element, because that last element is k. Then popping out that last element, and unordered map has been initialized to store every element. Then I'm calling to count the pair with difference k, which will find out the nums of k into my array. If exist the frequency, and the frequency plus my existing answer would be cumulated together, and the last will return it as sure. So this is the code in CPP. So code in Java, I also attached a screenshot of value, which is size was not given, as I already spoke in the question introduction. The first line contains space separated array and second line will contain value k, which I told. What he did as while sc next int, and it was totally working for him. Now list dot add st dot length next int. Okay, the one thing that I want to tell you is the input has 1 2 2 1, then it has like this. But in the input, they don't provide the commas. Okay, because I discussed the same thing. Okay, you told there is a comma in the test case, but you are taking the input as integer. So how this comma can be taken? It should throw an error. He said every input is given in the string integer format. You need to remove or ignore this comma. So you may get this particular scenario. Otherwise, the comma is also included. Then you need to take input in string. But here, as he told, the comma has been ignored and you can take input using sc next end. So try to take this approach, because most of the candidate using Java to solve their problems, isn't? So yes, this is very easy. We don't need to discuss, but here we need to discuss, which is scanner class. You can use in this. Most of the people who are messing with the brackets, please don't mess with these, because their compiler is not that indentation or bracket supportive. So you need to create it by yourself. String line scanner, you are taking the next line input whole, then line scanner new next line. Okay, so now while line scanner dot has next, okay, until unless we have has next int, we can put into it. Okay, so you can either do this approach or you can either do this approach. I will highly appreciate if you do this approach, because this approach has been given by the candidate who gave today's shift. Okay, so you can follow this, put the scanner int statement into the while condition and you are done there. And then you can perform your operations very, very, very easily. Great. So this is the particular approach that I wrote, and you can go through it, follow all the codes, and please see this message will definitely help you in upcoming TCS NQT shift. Please join our Telegram group, because there only we'll got all the questions update, all the experience of TCS NQT and all notes, interaction with your peers, networks, learning and sharing. Every facility is provided in this group. Please join it. The link would be in the description. And if you want to prepare for TCS NQT, Essential, Capgemini, Cognizant, TCS NQT 2025, Cognizant, and Highly Alert, you are at the right place. Just subscribe the channel if you have not, because I can see 60% of the people not subscribed and just watch it and go. Please don't do that. Subscribe the channel, like this video and share with your friend so that your friend can also do something in their career and crack TCS NQT on campus opportunity. So we'll meet you with a new video soon.